cracking, everybody? So I'm gonna do another new video. Someone that means the most to me asked me to do a video on basically something on our history, and based on where she's from, I wanted to do a video on a people in our history that don't get enough credit. All of our people, it seems like, want to be Aztecas, right? Because they were the Mexica were the most known of the Aztecas. What they call Aztecas were some badass warriors, but we ain't all descending from there, So here's a story. When all of the Nahuatl tribes decided to migrate and leave Chico Mosto, which was the mythical place of 7 caves where they all came from, and they all migrated south into the Valley of Mexico, right? The last ones to leave were the Mexica, the modern day Mexicans, right? But the Mexica were the last ones to leave. And they wandered for a very long time, right? And their god, their main god that they worship was Huitzilopochtli, the god that blood is sacrificed. Their sacrifice, human sacrifices were for him, right? Well, he had told them that they were gonna have to continue wandering until they saw the sign that they were in their place, they were in their home. And the sign was an eagle sitting upon a prickly pear cactus devouring a heart, a tuna, right? The tuna from the prickly pear cactus symbolizes a heart, right? So like I said, they went into the valley last, and people had already established themselves. But when they entered into the Valley of Mexico, the big dogs were the Tepaneca. They ran everything, and different cities were known for different things. Like Texcoco was known to have great poets. Other places were known for their sculptures. Different cities were known for different things. What the Mexica brought to the table, what they had basically perfected, and what they had to offer was they were warriors. They were basically mercenaries, and so they became mercenaries for the Tepaneca, fighting their battles, whooping ass for them, and there came a point where the Tlatoani for the Mexica said, I'm gonna approach, and I'm gonna ask for some land for us. So he asked for a piece of land, for the Mexica to have of their own, instead of, moving around, and, So the Tepaneca, they decided to give them an island. It was like a marshland in the middle of Lake Texcoco, right? And the only thing that lived there was snakes. And the Tepaneca didn't like the Mexica, knew they were bad dudes, but didn't like them. They were not looked at as civilized as everyone else in the Valley of Mexico, right? So they thought it was funny. It would be a joke to give them that piece of land. Well, they went into that land. They went into the island, and one of the first things they saw was the águila on the prickly pear cactus devouring the tuna, and they knew they were where they were supposed to be. Now, sidebar: the Mexican flag is that symbol. However, the Spaniards changed the tuna to a snake, but that was actually the vision of the Mexica. Their God telling them, when you see this, you're at home. Okay, so now back to what's going on. So the Mexica got there, they saw that sign, and they didn't matter what was there. They knew they were where they were supposed to be. So they ate all the snakes, they moved everything around, and that became eventually one of the most beautiful cities ever on the planet, Tenochtitlan, right? Now, as the Mexica began to strengthen, I'm not gonna go into all the things, something they did. They sacrificed somebody that they shouldn't have, and they caught a little heat. And what they did is they approached Texcoco and Tlacopan, and they said, you know what? Let's beat these dudes. We can take over, and then everybody owes us tribute. We're tired of being under these people, this and that. And so they said, let's do it. But they knew that they needed more help. And what they did is they went into what now is Michoacan, and they approached the Tarascan, and they asked their leader for support and told them, if you fight side by side with us, if you overthrow the Tepaneca with us, we will be allies. You guys, it was a whole thing that was promised. And the Tarascan were like, okay. So everybody rode on the Tepaneca. They defeated them. And then the Triple Alliance, which was the Mexica, Texcoco, and Tlacopan, the Triple Alliance betrayed the Tarascan, right? Purepecha. They betrayed them. And it was a terrible thing because, had they kept their word, who knows what the world would be right now for us. Because in the end, when the Spaniards came and the Mexica were on their last stand, Cuauhtemoc sent emissaries back to the Tarascan and told them, look, we can defeat these people. They're not gods. We've killed their. They didn't know what the horse was. They thought it was supposedly like a big deer or something. And they were like, look, we've killed them. They took body parts of the horses and Spaniards. Like, look, these people are not gods. We can kill them. Unfortunately, they had hundreds of thousands of indigenous allies. The Spaniards did. But the Tarascan had never forgot the betrayal, right? And they told them, you guys did this to us once before. That's your battle. That's your war. You go fight it. They're not doing shit to us. And unfortunately, the initial betrayal bit everybody in the ass, But one thing I want you guys to know, those of you that don't know, the Mexica, who were the baddest motherfuckers, only lost in battle prior to the Spaniards. They only lost in battle one time in their history, and that was to the Tarascan. They tried. I wish I could remember which Tlatoani it was. I want to say it was Asha. You know what? I don't even want to say. I don't want to say which one it was because I don't want to be wrong. But everybody in the Valley of Mexico, when they used the main thing of their weaponry, like their arrow tips and their knives, were obsidian, right? And what the Tarascan had perfected was using copper. And so the little quilts that they wore in the battle that could stop the tips of obsidian couldn't stop copper, and so that defeated them, but I wanted to make sure that I went ahead and gave Michoacan, the Tarascan, the Purepecha, give them their shout out, because like I said, they don't get enough credit. Everybody wants to be, I want to be Azteca, I want to be Mexica, but you don't know where you came from, man. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know, you could say, well, my grandparents were born here. Yeah, well, you got to go a whole lot more years than that. Just understand that all of them were the same. And that's what we descended from. And they were all beautiful and intelligent. And they all should be studied. When you have the time, look it up. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this and enjoy the last couple minutes of my lunch and the sunshine. Everybody be cool. Tell the ones you love that you love them, right?